this video, we're talking about how my son heard the voice of his Daemon, and it was Tony Hawk. And I'm only being a little facetious about that. Anyway, my name is Patch Drury. I'm an award-winning writer, a published cartoonist, a board-certified hypnotherapist, and a Daemon enthusiast. If you don't know what the Daemon is, the short answer is that it is the internal life path that exist within you from birth. The long answer is I've got 60 plus videos in this playlist for you to look at. Anyway, so I have an 11-year-old son. His name is Jack Henry, and he is awesome. And he has been into all the things that 11-year-old boys get into throughout the course of their short lives. And one of the things he's gotten really into is Disney Channel programming, and recently discovered one of their shows called Zeke and Luther, and it's about a couple of skateboarders. And so that kind of piqued his interest around skateboarding. And prior to discovering the show, he had like a $20 Walmart skateboard. It was fine, but it was, it's what it was. And so he decided he wanted to get a better skateboard. And his mom and I thought, well, he's gotten into stuff over time and has fallen out of love with it pretty quick. So one of the ways to make sure this is going to be a thing is tell him that he has to earn the money for his skateboard. And so he had $80 saved up. So he and his mom went to the skateboard shop, not with the intention of buying anything, but just looking. And so they talked to the guy at the shop, and the guy said, hey, a good starter board for a kid your age is going to be about $120. And so Jack Henry's heart probably fell a little bit when he thought about how much he had to still raise. But then the guy asked him, he said, how much do you have saved? And Jack Henry said, I have $80 so far. And the man told him, he said, if your mom will buy some protective gear, because I want all my skateboarders to be protected, if she'll buy some protective gear, I'll let you buy the board for $80. And so he was elated, and his mom agreed because she's not a monster. So all of a sudden he had a really good starter board, and he was really excited, and we were excited for him because this seemed to be something he was super into. And so even though it's freezing in Kentucky right now, he kept wanting to go to skate parks and skate. And so his mom, because she's a saint, not a monster, would take him to skate for a little while. And one day, while he was skating, he took a spill off the board, as skateboarders will do, and he scraped up his elbow pretty good, like a lot of blood. And so I kind of, in my heart, I kind of held my breath. It was like, is this the thing that we find out he's not really into skateboarding because he got hurt and he doesn't like it anymore? But didn't faze him. He still wants to be a skateboarder. And so that was a really great sign too. And then the final little sign that made my ears prick up, it was he told his mom he thought he had found his passion. And I just, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. He's 11 years old. He's got all his life to figure out. There's no pressure, but just that's how he was thinking about it. And I asked him last night, because I didn't want to make a video without his permission. And I said, hey, Daddy makes Daemon videos. Do you know what the Daemon is? And I was sure he'd heard me talk about it, but I didn't know how well I'd explained it to him. And he said, well, it's kind of like your bliss. And so obviously another thing he hears me talking about a lot is Joseph Campbell and the concept of following your bliss. And making the topic of the Daemon and the bliss, like conflating them like that, like that's perfect. Yes, 100%. Your Daemon is kind of like your bliss. It's the thing that's in you that wants to be pursued. And so, and his word for it when he was trying to describe that to his mom was his passion. And we talk to him sometimes about the flow state and getting into flow when you're doing something you love. And so skating looks to be a doorway into all of that for him. And I call Tony Hawk his Daemon, because he's, that's the professional skater he knows. And I think that's probably the professional skater that all the world knows. It's at the top of that particular game. And, the ancient Greeks believed, I believe, that deceased people could be a daemon. I don't know if they believed a living person could be a daemon or not, but when I call Tony Hawk his daemon, it's more of like in the imaginal sense. Things that are imaginal are basically ideas. They're like archetypes that have motivating power. And so Jack Henry may not want all the things that Tony Hawk has in his life. He may not want a video game named after him, although now that I say that out loud, I'd say he probably definitely does. But he looks at somebody who has made skating so central to their life, and he's motivated by that. It compels him in that direction. So in that sense, it is a very daemonic idea. And so that's why I reference Tony Hawk as his daemon. It's very exciting for me because of who I am and what I value and benefit to see these things emerging in my son. Because, you know, you look and you wonder about someone, your progeny, and you're like, you know, what's going to be the thing that hooks and grabs a hold of them? And I wasn't into skating as a kid. I don't have any vested interest in it being skating, but when that came out as a thing, I was like, yeah, awesome, let's do that. That if that's what, and you know, as I pointed out, I think in the video right before this one, skating isn't necessarily the thing. You know, that's like the paintbrush, that's the hammer. It's the thing it's the medium through which you do the work. But what the thing really is what do you create with that skating? And so skating may not seem like something that you create with, but it absolutely is. You know, when the people who you skate with, when the people who watch you skate, the audience of your skating, what do you create in them? You know, inspiration or a love of beauty or admiration for what the human body can do. There's all kinds of things that could potentially be created there, and that's what's being created by the skating. And that, if this ends up being Jack Henry's thing, that would ultimately be what he's contributing and creating in the world, and what his daemon is interested in. If that makes sense when I say it that way. But you're along for the ride now, so I will update the channel regularly with his process and what's going on with it, and because this is what I talk about, this is what I'm about. So now that he's in the ballpark, he's going to be a part of this conversation. So anyway, thanks guys for watching.